Our webinar is about to start, but let's wait for another couple of minutes for people who are probably late, and we will start. So 2 more minutes. So I suppose that we can start. Hello, nice to see you all here. My name is Lilia, and I'm glad to host today's webinar for you. The topic of our today's webinar is Introduction to .NET for Test Engineers. I'm here today to give you a brief overview of what is .NET and how it can used how we can use in automation testing. So let's start probably with a short acquaintance. As you already heard, my name is Lilia. I'm graduated from Belarusian State University of Informatics and Radio Electronics. So I have bachelor degree in engineering. I have a quite wide technical experience because I dealt with many languages, programming languages, including C#, C++. C# is my main language now. Also, I learned C#, C++, Java, a little bit of assembler, JavaScript, and so on. So it helped me a lot into my professional career. I have more than 4 years of production experience and worked into different business domains. The short list you can see on a slide. So, why learning something as a totally beginner and you just got such serious books, you can have a feeling that it's probably too difficult for you. You won't be able to understand a thing. So I'm here to give you a short and nice overview with the simple words of what is it.NET. I'm here not to scare you probably with some complicated definitions. I'm here probably to inspire you, to show it's not difficult. It's really interesting and worth trying. Probably I will be able to inspire you to learn this topic on your own, and you will be able to become a great automation engineers. So today we realize what is .NET, why .NET, and how to .NET. Let's go. So the crucial thing, not only for automation engineer, but and for developers, is to understand what they're working with. That let's imagine a friend came to you one day and say, hello, I become a .NET engineer. What does it mean? A lot of people confuse C# and the .NET, but it's not really correct. And now I will explain you why. So what is a .NET? In general, .NET is a development platform for building stuff. Here on the slide, you can see that we can build exactly anything with the help of .NET. We can create desktop apps, we can create web apps, cloud, mobile, gaming, and so on. For example, if we are talking about test automation, with the .NET, I can write automation tests for clouds, for web, for mobile, and it's really great because one platform gives you ability to do anything. But what is .NET in general? So we can now understand that we can build anything with the help of .NET. But what is it .NET? So .NET contains 3 parts. For example, first thing that you should know about .NET is language. There are a lot of there are some main languages. For example, C#, F#, Visual Basic. It's like a language you're writing code with help of it. So, for example, you choose C#. So you write the code, and then suddenly you need to do something. For example, with a string. For example, compare strings, which is we with each other. And the great thing here is that you shouldn't create this comparison method from the scratch, because .NET have already have built-in component. Here you should see libraries. There are a lot of base class libraries. For example, we have a lot of things that are built in already. For example, working with strings, with different classes, with objects, with databases. So I like the thing that you shouldn't do something from the scratch. You just can reuse methods that are already written. So for example, you compare the strings and you use some basic library which works with strings. Okay, we just have a code. We build it, and now we should execute it. So we can execute it with the help of runtime. It's like a virtual machine in Java. So let me explain the whole process. For example, you just create your code with the help of language and the libraries. Then you compile it, and it create into the intermediate language. It's not a machine language, but intermediate language. And then with the help of runtime, you just interpret this intermediate language into machine language and execute your program. So I suppose it's you can understand it. And let's go to another slide. So in general, .NET. So what we need to keep in mind? We need to keep in mind the purpose of what we should create this code. For example, if we need to build an application for Windows, we can write it with the help of .NET Framework. .NET Framework, it's like different runtimes. So if we write code for Windows, we choose .NET Framework. I will show you a little bit later. Show you a short demo. It will be more understandable. So if we would like to write an application, for example, for .NET Core, Oh, I don't know. For example, for Windows, for Mac, for Linux, for example, I write automation tests. I would like to run them, for example, not only for Chrome, but for example, for Safari. So I can choose a .NET framework. I just can't use it runtime because of restrictions. I won't be able to use it for Safari. So I write my code onto the .NET Core. And Xamarin, it's a nice platform to write your code or to run your test, for example, on different devices. So, for example, Apple Watch, different TV sets, and so on. So let's proceed with a demo. For example, we need to write something on a .NET. So how we can use it? How can we do it? The first thing that we should download is an SDK. So it means software development kit. It's a thing which contains everything that you need. You should have when you want to write something. I've already have several links for you. So just go and download .NET Visual Studio. I've got this link, and I will explain you why. So let's wait, and here we can choose a software development kit for Visual Studio or just a runtime. What's the difference? So the runtime, if we are just download this runtime, you will be able only to run existing applications. If you want to write your application and run it, we need to download SDK for Visual Studio. So I have a 32-bit system. I will download this one, but I already have it. So let it be. And after that, if you want to create your code, you need a development environment. It means a program where you can just write your code. So there are a lot of, plenty, not a plenty, but there are some IDE that you can use. So you can download a Visual Studio for Windows. I have it because I really like its functionality, but it's quite heavy. So if you're a total beginner, you can try to, you can start with Visual Studio Code. It's not an IDE, it's like a code editor more, but it's compatible with Linux, with Mac, and with Windows. And if you have a Mac, you can just download a Visual Studio for Mac. So let's proceed. Let me show you a small example. So let's imagine that I've already downloaded a .NET SDK, and let's check if we download it. So we will check what the .NET version we have. So you see that I have several SDKs here installed, version 3, version 5, to version 5s. So it's already installed, and now we can use it. So what we can do with the help of .NET, I've already said that we can do almost everything. So let's try .NET New. And we will see here plenty of things that we can do with the help of it. So we can create a console application, class library, I don't know, Windows forms, some test projects. And the thing I like that there is a language, you see? So we can create a console application and write it on Visual Basic or with a F#. For example, we can create a unit test project on C#, F#, and Visual Basic. So probably let's create one. So we can start it. For example, there are samples. So you know there are a lot of samples. So we don't need to open a Visual Studio now and just create a project. We just can create a sample from the command line and run it. So it's a good point to start. So let's create a new one. I already have a folder. So let's navigate to it. So, and here let's create probably, let it be a Windows form. So to do it, we need to .NET, type new, and how does it called? Windows forms. So WinForms. So and now we see that template Windows Forms was created. So we just can open and play with it. For example, let's try to build it for, in order to run it, we need to, for example, to build it, to compile it. So we can build it from the command line. Okay, we see that we've built this application, and now we can open this folder and see our executable file. So you see that there is a template that already created for us. And if we go to the bin folder, you see that we have an application. So we can run it. There is a small form, and it's nice. Also, we can run it from here. So let's navigate to this folder. And run the application. It runs on the another window. Let's try to, now let's try to edit it. I will show you a short overview of Visual Studio. It's a nice tool, nice IDE to work with it. So let's close it. I suppose we don't need it anymore. Let's wait a little bit and open a project. I will show what to do further with this window application and how to write your code probably into the Visual Studio. What do we have? Okay. So you see that Visual Studio forced us to create a solution file. And let me explain what is it in general. So let's wait until it loaded. Today it took a little bit longer to load it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And wait a little bit more. Mm-hmm. Today is something strange with my Visual Studio, really. Oh, what is it? What happened with it? No. Mm-hmm. So let's open again. It's something strange. Who is it today? Mhm. So let me, while we're waiting, let me explain what is the solution. You see, oh, it's downloaded. Okay, nice. So in real project, we have in real production, we have complex things, complex solutions. Solution is a bunch of projects. Here we see that we have a small project, Hello World, which contains only one form. But let's imagine that we have a project where we have several different web forms and we need to handle all of them. So it's not really convenient to have such different projects which are could placed everywhere. When, for example, we will have some general configuration for all of them. So it's really helpful to place everything into the solution. So a solution, it's a bunch of projects or where you can get them all together, and it's really convenient here. So let's wait a little bit and open our form. So opening this file. Mm-hmm. And here you see is our form, web form. Now I will show you how to probably work with this form. What is the code here, where it's placed, and so on. So, for example, we need to open a toolbox. Probably let's add here a button. Let's place it anywhere. And probably a label. So let's create a web form. If we click on this button, the label text will change to Hello World. So we need to button and a label. So let's place label over here. You see that we can change the size and everything is built in, so it's really nice. After it, we need to generate the code. So here in the web forms, it's really easy. You just click twice. And Visual Studio will create a class. You see, here is a class. It's a place where we can write our code. So we have a namespaces and classes here. Classes is where our code in, and it's split into the classes. So it's like a small parts. For our form, we have this part, and we see that Visual Studio generates the code for us. It calls button click. So while we're clicking the button, something should happen. So, and let's, for example, as you remember, if we click on the button, label text should change. How can we handle it? So we see the method which will be called after we click on the button. So we need to change here the label text. Let's review what we have. You see that we have plenty of properties which are suitable for this label. And we have its name. So it's the name which we need to call while we're writing the code. So it's our label. We have here a lot of properties. Text. So let's imagine that we are finishing with our code. And now we, for example, need to compare the string or should define if the string contains some other string. Let me show you what I mean under the libraries. As we So here, .NET contains 3 parts: languages, runtime, and libraries. So we wrote some code on a C#, on a language. Now let me show what are the libraries exactly. So Visual Studio have already some built-in libraries. For example, equal. It's, for example, label 1, text, contains. You see, it's like a basic library which is built in. It helps us to work with strings. So we don't need to create this method from scratch. We just can call contains and reuse it. For example, or we just can get a length of this text. Another example of the basic class library is a console. Console also always used for logs. For example, we are clicking a button and we need to have a log about it. So let's write a console. It's, as you see, it's in the system console here. It's into the namespace system, which is base library. Console, right? And we can write here, for example, clicking a button. So we don't need to implement it from the scratch. We just call console and everything will be done for us. Into our automation practice, we we need not only basic libraries, we need to third party. So a lot of things are built into our Visual Studio, but we need some more. The best example probably it's a WebDriver. It helps us to run our code on different browsers. So where I can find it? So right click on a project and manage NuGet packages. Let's wait a little bit. And you see that we have here into the Visual Studio, we have pre-installed NuGet package manager. So we can see, we can search for a WebDriver. And we see that there are plenty of third-party packages that we can install and then reuse. We don't need to implement our own WebDriver. We just can reuse something that is already exists. So let's imagine that we are finished and now we need to run it. So first of all, we need to compile it. So I just call build. We need to build it. We need to create the file in this intermediate language. So, or we can see the output. Our build is succeed. So now we can run it. Run our application. Let's go to our bin folder. As you remember, our executable file is placed there. Click the button, and you see that we have this mark. So everything nice and simple. So let's close this application. So it means that your application now is you is able to run your application now on your machine. So let's run it again. I can run it on Windows. As we already remember, we created an application on the .NET Core, so we can run it on both Linux and Mac. So if I try to run this application on Mac, it will be fine. So I suppose you find it pretty good. And here I have several links for you. So I just copied into this presentation. So SDK, where you can download it, a list of IDEs. different ones. I already have here a GitHub code space. It's pretty new, but I haven't tried it. Unfortunately, you just feel free to use it, to go and run it. And one thing that I missed. Oh God, what is a nugget? So if you don't have a Visual Studio, you just can go and, but you're really curious, you just go to Google and open the nugget from your browser, and here you can review what packages we can get. There are a lot of, you see, so we can open this one and install with a command line, as I showed you earlier. So like a package references and so on, so on. So here and Nugget, you can get a lot of third-party libraries. So probably that's it from my demo today. And we can go back to our presentation. So we've already learned what is .NET. .NET in general is there are libraries, languages, and a runtime. And we, thanks with the help of it, we can create applications for everything. But we need to keep in mind the purpose. This when we go to this slide, we can choose .NET Framework. It's like an implementation of a .NET for Windows. .NET Core is cross-platform, and Xamarin is for devices. So pretty easy. And you can, from this site, you can download all SDKs you need. For example, I recommend for today's I use .NET Core to create an application, cross-platform application. But here you can see you can download for .NET Framework and Xamarin. So everything, I suppose, it's clear. So let's continue. So we learned how to .NET. How to .NET, we need to install the SDK. So our development kit and our IDE where we will write our code, and SDK where we can build and execute our code. And the last question that we have for today is why .NET? So .NET, it makes you productive. As you already see, I've just got a list of samples, a list of templates. So it's really easy to start. For example, you just create a sample application and just go inside and have a clue what is it. For example, a Windows form. I just create it and I get everything inside it already. So I just go there and edit it. Another reason is that you can it's a relative easy to use, easy relative. You can easily start with .NET. So it's already have a lot of things implemented. For example, as you already saw, base class libraries, third-party libraries. So you just don't need to implement everything. You just go and reuse something which is already implemented. So it makes you really productive. You are willing to start to try anything new. Another advantage of the .NET is that you can create any app on any platform. As already mentioned, .NET is a platform for building stuff. You just, for example, Unity uses C#, so you can learn C# and go into the gaming sphere and write something on the Unity. It's loved by developers. C# have a tremendous community. For example, if you have any questions, you can just ask them, and someone will definitely answer you. All people are happy to help you to start in the .NET. Performance. The .NET is fast, really fast. And the things that it have, it's like a garbage collector. Probably it's like a technical thing. For example, in Java, you need to think when you need to dispose your object. objects. For example, if you forgot to dispose something, it will stay in memory and your application or, I don't know, automation script will be slower. But in .NET, we don't need to think about it. Everything is automatically. Everything is simple. You just write your code, you run your code, and the environment will do the job for you. And moreover, it's trusted and secure because .NET platform is officially supported by Microsoft, and it's trusted by thousands of companies and millions of developers. So Microsoft, as you know, takes security very seriously and releases updates quickly when some threats are observed. So probably there are a lot of useful links. So if you need any additional info, I've prepared you a list of links where you can go and give a more deep insight. What is the .NET? For example, what is, for example, .NET framework? How to get started? I suppose that Microsoft already have some small trainings how to create it. So we just go here and explore all these links. So probably that's it. And one thing that before we go to Q&A session, probably if you have any questions, I would like to already answer a question that people often ask me. What I should choose, C# or Java? You know, it's like a tricky question for me because it depends on your purpose. For example, if you have to develop an application, for example, for Microsoft, you definitely need to choose a C# because you know, the Microsoft creates C#, everything is extremely compatible here. For example, if you want to join a game design, you need to C# because, you know, because of Unity. But if you would like to try something on Android, probably it will be better to choose Java because Android is all about Java. But in general, if we are talking about automation engineering, it depends. For example, you know, I started from a Java, and then I tried to C# and I'm just moved to C# because I know it was closer for me than Java. For example, it's like a personal thing. It depends. So you just can choose any question, or not a question, not any language that you like. In this case, so probably we are pretty quick today. So probably if you have any question, I open in the chat and I will be happy to answer on them. Oh, you heard the cat? Yeah. I'm also sorry for it. So no questions? Okay. Any questions, guys? No questions? So I suppose that we just have a brief insight of the .NET, and later we will have a webinar about how to write exact tests into the with the help of C#, with the help of .NET, and run them. So today is just a quick overview of the platform. So guys, if there are no questions, I'm glad. I'm really happy that you came today. I'm really glad to share my experience with you. And in case you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me if you see my email. I will be glad to answer all the questions that you have. Probably I have missed something, or you after the presentation you will have any questions. So it means that that's it for today. It was great. Thank you for coming.